Hi, this is Kai from Kikai Craft. I recently went on my second pen meet. The first one was very informal. It was just me and one other person, and I felt a little bit unprepared. Then I went to my second pen meet thinking I was a little bit more prepared, having chosen pens that I thought had stories, and then I felt again not so prepared. So this video is super basic things that you might want to bring on a pen meet with you so you can feel just a little bit more prepared than I was. All right, so what are the things you want to bring with you on a pen meet? The first one, I'm going to remove my rickshaw pen meet kit and I'll share with you what's inside in a while. But first of all, let's focus a little bit on the pens that you are planning to bring with you. So I have decided to bring maybe 20 pens in a pen meet, but actually when you come to think of it, it's always a good idea to bring more because it's always fun to share what's in your collection with other people. So let's just move things aside. You decide to get or bring 20 pens with you. It would be nice for you to get a pen case for it, just so you also know what you are bringing and you have some sort of picture of what's inside. So this is what I brought on a pen meet that I recently went to. I thought that each of these already had its own story, and because they were special to me, I thought they'd be special to others too, and they were, but some weren't as special. So your best pens doesn't have to be the best pens to bring. What I thought were really interesting to bring after those two pen meets, first off, were pens with interesting nibs. All right, so I brought these and I thought this was quite interesting to bring because the Mont Blanc Bohème has a retractable nib, and it's always good to have something like with a pen with an interesting architecture to it or engineering to it. So I thought this was good to bring. I still think it's good to bring. And also the Mont Blanc Mozart, in case anyone is interested. Why do I think this is good to bring? Because if you look at the section for this one, you'll actually see the Mont Blanc mountains, or the range that it belongs to. I didn't really think it was super interesting to bring the Mont Blanc baby because quite a number of people have the baby, and so this is very common. I also didn't think it was fantastic to bring the M600 Pelican, although I love the color for it. I thought a lot of people were very familiar with the Pelican. However, I thought this was good to bring because, apart from the fact that it's pretty, it also has quite a nice nib to go with it, if you see that. So this was quite nice to bring. And I also brought this, and this happened to be one of the more interesting, or one of the pens that people found interesting because it had a specialty nib. This has the zoom nib from Sailor. It also has a pretty nice design on the nib itself. So this was quite good to bring. So if you are going to choose pens to bring, choose ones that have very interesting designs, very interesting engineering, or very interesting or unusual nib grinds. So again, if I were to curate this and choose which ones to bring, I would perhaps not bring this if I were to strictly go for 20. And instead, maybe I would bring my Furore with the CSI Flex because it's always interesting to check the different nibs. Again, I might not have brought my Mont Blanc Rouge et Noir baby. I might have instead brought my Junior. All right, so this is a Sailor Prophet Junior. And why would I bring this? This feels like just a normal pen. Well, it would have been nice to see or to show how the different cartridges, the different colored cartridges, and Sailor has quite a number of colors, actually changes the look of the pen if you change the cartridge. And it has an MF nib, which perhaps not a lot of people get to use because it's not really in the line of standards, I suppose. We have the medium, we have the fine, we have the extra fine, and then we have the broad. So the medium fine is not commonly found in many pens. All right, so those are some of the pens that I would have definitely brought with me. I would, and I think I did bring this, would bring the Mont Blanc 144 because it is an old pen, and because it is quite a good find with the quality that it's in. I got this from a small vintage shop here in Jakarta, and so it would be interesting just to show what one can find in a vintage shop. I would have also added my Esterbrook Nouveau Blue because it has the journaler grind on the nib, and of course because I like the colorway a lot. And I would, and I think I did, would bring my Every Rose Has Its Thorn from Sailor. It's a Sailor Pro Gear because of the very interesting color or colorway that it has. It actually changes depending on the light. Right now it looks like a nice soft blue. It can turn more purple or more white depending on the light. So I would have brought that too, just to show how interesting pens can be in terms of their architecture or engineering, or the little details that you can find on them, especially when it comes to colors. I might have also brought my Diplomat stripes because of its colorway, right? I think it is quite interesting to have it. It's not as expensive as a lot of these pens, but it's still quite expensive, not easily accessible. I think that is one key word. Pens that are not easily accessible, or grinds that are not easily accessible. Now, I know that these pens on the other side, these are my bigger pens. This and this had caught quite a bit of attention because these are from independent pen makers. This is a Pens by Casey. This is a Drunem Pisane. This is a Kasama. I think that if I were not going to go to a Philippine pen meet, this would be good to bring. The Kasama Una and the Kasama Tala in Takip Silim. This is a an exclusive from the Manila Pen Show. But if I were going to go to a group that didn't have Filipinos, perhaps these two would be quite interesting for them. I would also bring my FX 22. It has a Joe nib. It's not like because of the nib, but because really of the design and the fact that it is a Philippine-made pen. And then, of course, I would have brought my little Sailor, my little Pilot, just to show how pretty the black stripe is. And I don't have it quite with me, but I would have added my Platinum 4-leaf clover pocket pen as well. And then I would have left just a few slots for other pens that I might have, which might include, give me a second, let me see if I have it. Yes, I have it with me. My Pelikan 140. This has a vintage flex nib, and so that might be of interest. And perhaps the Parker Vacuumatic would be of interest as well. This has a super duper fine nib. So this has a flex nib, this has a fine, super duper fine nib. I think it might be an ultra extra fine. And this has an integrated nib, so people might be interested to have a look at that. So again, if you notice, it's where they're from, independent makers, because it's always unique, and pens that have interesting grind, nib grinds would be very much something that you would want to bring pen wise. And if you can limit that to 20, that would be good, or at least have them so that they're in pen cases that you can easily sort of remember what's in them and keep track, just so you know what you want to share and what you want to show. Oh, one more thing, as much as possible, if you can, make sure that your pens are inked, not to be dipped, because if you dip pens, for example, the zoom, if you dip this, you don't really experience the zoom properties of it. Neither would you with the Florida Ginger, this one, because the grind doesn't really shine on dip pens. It would be nice if it came from the cartridge or the converter through the feed. Okay, so I would bring something like this, maybe add 1 or 2 more pens into the set. Okay, and this is a Galen leather 20 pen zippered case. It feels very secure. Your pens are protected. It's always good. All right, so pen wise, again, interesting grinds, interesting colorways, not easily accessible, pens with history, pens with interesting stories. And if you can, get pens, or make sure that your pens are inked. What else should I have brought? I would have brought gifts with me. Gifts can be in the form of inks, interesting inks in tiny vials, right? Or perhaps I could have brought inks in bottles and just set up an ink bar, I suppose, where people can take out their own vials and get some of the ink, because that's one thing that I realized. People share inks in pen meets. I would have brought these two because these are chameleon inks and they're very interesting. They change color from when they're wet to when they're dry. It's different. And so, yeah, bring inks that you think would interest people. Again, unique inks or inks that are not as accessible. And then, because of that experience, I decided to put together a pen meet kit. And so what's in my pen meet kit? I put it all together in this rickshaw bag. First of all, you want to bring a pen meet notebook. Why are you going, okay, it doesn't want to come out. So why are you going to bring a pen meet notebook? I realized that during pen meets, you would like to ask people to write their name, the pen that they're using, the ink that they're using, to have some sort of idea, an idea of how different pens and different inks work. You'll also be using some pages to sort of try the different pens and the different inks yourself. Here is an example. So when I went on a pen meet, I didn't have a special notebook for that. So I just grabbed my poetry notebook and I've asked people to write their names. And then I've also tried different pens on it. So apparently this is a common thing. So if you can see, I've asked a few people to write on this as well. For example, Clem, right, from the Archer pens. So she wrote on my pen meet book. Okay, I think that's Ramps of an Archer. Okay, she reviews pens regularly. So you would like to have a little notebook for that. Obviously, you want to get a pen that is, a notebook that is fountain pen friendly. This is a Hobonichi notebook, the super thin ones. This is like 40 pages, and I think this is enough for a few pen meets. And of course, I've gone ahead and put in some stickers. Okay, so this one in my pen kit, I think would live right there. And inside the pen kit, I've had a look at what people brought. And so you want to bring pipettes with you. So in case everyone is helping themselves to an ink bar, you might need to bring pipettes because they might not have a lot available. Obviously, you want to rinse them before you reuse them, but have a few with you. I also have, let's just take it out. Okay, there's nothing else inside. I also have vials because you want to bring vials in case some people are generous and they want to share some inks and you want to bring home a sample of some of the inks. You might want to have vials with you so you can put them in. I only have 4, but I mean, some people brought 10, some people brought 20, and that is fine, depending, I suppose, on the expectations of the pen meet. But that would be good to have, and of course, a little bit of washi tape to sort of seal it, or to sort of tape any ephemera that you want to tape into your pen meet book. And then, one more thing is that you might want to bring some, okay, where does this go? Okay, you might want to bring some sort of a postcard with you or a card with you wherein you can, and I just made this is from the paper place. They have like some card stock, so I got some A6 card stock from them. I rounded the corners myself, and then I cut it in half, so this is an A7, I suppose, and I just put some LC with love stamps on it. And I suppose this would be a nice way to sort of share, like, I don't know, greetings or create ephemera for each other so that you can put it in your journal. If you have a gift for people, this is another good place to write your message for the person. And so it's always good to have a little bit of stationery in your pen meet case. Okay, so just as a wrap up, bring interesting pens with interesting grinds, interesting colorways, or very interesting stories. Bring ink that you might want to share. Bring gifts. It doesn't really have to be just fountain pen related gifts. It can be food as well, or just little trinkets. That's fine too. Also in your kit, make sure to bring a notebook for the pen meet, for you to write or ask people to write their names, and for you to try pens and grinds and inks in. You might want to also bring a set of cards for you to write notes. Bring some pipettes and some vials and some washi in case the people there decide to set up an ink bar. You have your own tools to get, or to have some of the inks that they're willing to share and you would like to try. Okay, if you have more things that you think should go inside a pen meet kit, please do leave your notes in the comments below. I've only been to 2, so it's nothing to how many pen meets other people have had. Oh yes, a loop would also be good to bring, so that you can look at the different grinds. A loop is like a tiny jeweler's magnifying glass. I have one of those, but I have not prepared it. Let me see if I can get it for you. Okay, you can hear me rummaging through my things. I think I do have one. Give me a second. Yes, so yes, bring a loop with you so you can have a look at the different grinds as well, if that is something of interest. Okay, so if you have any more ideas of what should be brought to a pen meet, please do leave it in the comments below. I would love to know as well, so I can be better prepared for my next pen meet. This is Kai from Kikai Craft. I hope you learned something new today, or this helped you remember a few things today. Okay, and wherever you are, I hope you have a great day or a restful evening. And if you have a pen meet coming around, I hope you have a great time. Bye, everyone.